circulatory system? Anyone?
It's how your blood moves.
It's how your blood moves. Well, we won't get into that. This is our topic for today, and these are the objectives I hope to cover within the 15 minutes that I have. One, I want you to be able to identify the function of the circulatory system. So what is the function? And part of the answer, yes, is to pump blood. Discuss why the circulatory system is necessary. A lot of people know about your anatomy, or at least a little bit about it, but it's not necessarily clear as to why you personally would need it, or why an organism needs those particular structures or that system. Identify the major components to the circulatory system and discuss each component's function, and trace the blood cells through the pulmonary circuit. I will get to these more later on. So the first question is, why do we need a circulatory system, ladies and gentlemen? Why? And questions that you should consider when answering this: do all organisms have a circulatory system? And if not, can you give examples of those without one? And what do all of these organisms have in common, if they are indeed, or if they do indeed exist? So why do we have a circulatory system? Does anybody know this? Can anybody answer this question?
Deliver oxygen.
Deliver oxygen, that's good. Oxygen is very necessary, isn't it? Otherwise we die. You asphyxiate, you die. That's bad. You don't want to die. What else why else do we need a circulatory system?
So there's some kind of waste inside our body, we can take it out.
Oh, I like it. Okay, so oxygen to my body, waste out of my body. If you're alive, you know that you excrete. That's a natural process. You have to produce waste. So you get rid of it via the circulatory system. That's great. Okay, so we need to get things to our body, or specifically what makes our body up? What is our body composed of? The basic unit of life is?
A cell.
A cell, indeed. But yes, we are mostly water, indeed. But water is not alive. That is it's a compound, is it not? Okay, so do all organisms have a circulatory system? Okay, so that's the major things. We need to get things to ourselves and things away from ourselves. Now, do all organisms have a circulatory system? You think so? Okay. No, you don't think so? Can you give me an example if you don't think so? Pardon? What?
Zombies.
Zombies! Oh, yes, zombies might. Well, they may actually have a remnant circulatory system, but whether or not it does anything is a good question. Can you give me an example?
Like, what about a bacteria?
A bacterium. Is a bacterium alive? It is a cell, isn't it? Yes? It's alive, but it doesn't have a circulatory system, does it? Or does it?
Not that I know of.
Not that I know of either, no. What is a bacterium? When you think bacteria, what do you think immediately? What is it? What about it? Think physical structure.
Single cell.
Single cell, what else?
Small.
It's really, really small. So our function, the point of the circulatory system is to get stuff to and from our cells. You don't need a circulatory system, however, if you're really small. Why not? Why not? Why not? Well, I have a question for you. When you're hungry, all right, what do? You eat. I love it. Okay, but if you're hungry, can you go and swim in a vat of chicken soup and get full without eating it?
No.
Now, why can't that happen? You don't know? Anybody?
We don't live in a vat of chicken soup.
We don't know. Well, can you dip your hand in some milk and get nourishment from that?
It's not permeable.
Not permeable, you can't absorb it, exactly. So the point here is that in order for something to get into your cells, it has to be absorbed. Now, do things absorb through your skin? Can things go through your skin? Yes, absolutely. Well, if things can go through your skin, why not food?
Food is big.
It's too big. And what else, when you think of us, or you think of an organism that has a circulatory system, which are most things, what about them? We're really what?
Big.
We're really big. We're made up of a lot of what?
Cells.
We're made up of a lot of cells. So the more cells you have, the more difficult it is for things to get absorbed into your body to all of the cells. This is why we have a circulatory system. The function is, it's a highway system through the body. It's a highway system. We're going to be delivering things. Think of a truck on I-95 that's taking things from point A to point B. In order for it to get there, we made the roads, right? Otherwise, it would be going over hills on like grass into a swamp, the Great Dismal Swamp, all the way down. I don't know, but that's exactly why we need a system through the body. It transports nutrients, good. So we talked about food, we talked about oxygen, we talked about waste. Nutrients and waste to and from cells, we got to get rid of it. So we are really big. We need a highway system to get it to and from the our cells. Transport chemical signals throughout the body. A chemical signal. What's a chemical signal? I love it. A hormone. Give me a hormone. Estrogen. Why did you pick estrogen?
Little girl.
Oh, you're a girl. What's my hormone?
Testosterone.
Is that the only hormones we have? No. What other hormones do we have? Do you know? Anybody?
Steroids.
Oh, steroids. What do they do?
Make you buff.
They do make you buff. What else might they do? Why do you release anybody? Why do you get a steroid shot? Why do you go to the doctor and he gives you a steroid shot? What are you trying to alleviate? Reduce inflammation. That's exactly what was one of the things that you do or you get. That's wonderful. And assist an immune response, right? So you get cut. What happens? Turns red. You get an infection. Might get a little hot to the touch. But what's going on there? Oh, it's immunity. It's our white blood cells. It's and natural killer cells. It's all kinds of immunity functions that are getting to that wound to kill anything that may have come in and to repair the body. So that's our function. Okay, everybody with me? Makes sense. Major components. 3 major components. You all know these. You know these. Give me a component of the circulatory system.
Blood.
Blood. I love it. I love it. That's great. What's another one? Heart. Anything else? That's 2. Have I cut? Huh? Arteries. Good. Arteries and veins are also called vessels. Good. I need a pump, the heart. More detail later on that. There's a picture of the heart. We won't go into too much detail right now. I'll expect you to know that later. The roots or the vessels, there are 3 kinds. Arteries, veins, capillaries. Now, look at me, all of you look at me. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Repeat that. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Artery away. Artery away. Veins then carry blood which way? Towards the heart. Good. Now the capillaries are kind of funny. They're really, really small, and they're going to aid in that transfer of nutrients and oxygen and wastes. They're really, really small, and that's why they'll get away with that. Here we go. My artery, vein, usually color-coded. Artery red, vein blue, capillaries are purple. And then the vehicle, the blood. Blood was the first answer given. I love it. And it's actually, this is a tissue, and it carries all sorts of things. It's made up of all sorts of things. Water, blood cells, white blood cells, red blood cells, and hormones and all kinds of stuff. Okay, so there's a picture of our blood cells. You've seen these before. Kind of like, almost like the donuts, and they got the little divot in the middle. Okay? All right, so now about the heart. We're going to focus on the heart. How much time do I got?
You have 7 minutes.
Good. All right, the heart. All right. Oh, another overview of the heart. Don't get bogged down by this. I just want you to see this, okay? But we'll make this more simplistic. The heart is a muscular organ. It's a muscle. It pumps. All right. It pumps blood throughout the body. So this is what you need to know. The heart will collect blood from the body. So you're getting blood from the body going toward the heart. All right? From your body towards the heart. If it was in your body, does it have waste, or is it high in waste or low in waste? It was in your body. High in waste, low in waste? High in waste. What about oxygen? Does it have a lot of oxygen or a little bit?
No.
Not so much. It's got a little bit. Good. So we're going back towards the heart. Collects blood from the body, which you said high carbon dioxide, low oxygen, high waste. Okay. Then it delivers the blood to the lungs. Okay, so I go from body to heart. The heart goes to my lungs. Uh-oh, what happens here? What happens in my lungs? Huh?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. What am I breathing out? Carbon dioxide. That's called an exchange. So I'm getting rid of my oxygen. Excuse me, I'm taking in oxygen into the blood, and I'm getting rid of carbon dioxide. In oxygen, out carbon dioxide. Blood, high O2, low waste. Or so once the blood has been reoxygenated, it comes back And low waste, I mean carbon dioxide. It re-enters the heart again. So goes back from the lungs to the heart. Where, guess what happens? Where does it go after this?
Body.
Goes back to the body. Good. Because now I have a lot of oxygen. I've got very low carbon dioxide. That's wonderful, right? Otherwise you die. Okay. So what vessels are involved in these steps? Ooh, okay. Body going towards the heart. What vessel was that? It was the vein. Yes, indeed. Heart towards the lungs. If blood is going away from the heart, what is it called? Artery. And then from the lungs back toward the heart, what's that called? Excellent. Now, remember, I said that the capillaries were involved in the transfer of nutrients. Where would you find capillaries here? Definitely the lungs. Where else?
Body.
Probably the body too, but yes, indeed the body. But lungs, that's what I was focusing on. But that's good. Wonderful. All right. Now, my heart, 4 chambers. All right, so I'm like this, okay? When I'm like this, I'm talking about my right-hand side because this is my right, left, okay? There are 4 chambers. There are 2 atria that sit anterior or on the top, 2 ventricles that sit on the bottom, okay? So it's this, these 2 would be, and these 2 ventricles. And if I were to guess, this is which one? Which atrium is this? Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. This is the right atrium, so this is the left atrium. Right ventricle, left ventricle. I love it. Most excellent. So my chamber that sits on top of the heart, the atrium, the right atrium receives blood. Okay, so I'm going to get very specific here. How much time do I have left?
6 minutes.
Oh, 6.
4, sorry.
Okay, right atrium receives blood from the body. Okay, so we're going to go very into specific details about the heart. All right, so my blood comes in from the body to
Right atrium.
the right atrium. Are you sure?
That's what
Yes.
By what kind of vessel?
Vein.
Vein. Good. Then from the right atrium, it will get pumped down to what? It gets pumped down. Remember, don't do this. Don't ever do this. This is not correct. It does not go across like that. You get blood going down from the right atrium to the right ventricle. All right? Then what? Is that on my PowerPoint or you just know this?
She's just there.
I studied.
The right atrium receives blood from the body, pumps blood to the right ventricle. The left atrium receives blood from the lungs and delivers blood to the left ventricle. So let's go back over here. Left atrium. So I'm getting my blood from where? My lungs, right? That here. And pumps blood where? Left ventricle. Bam. Everybody see that? Okay. I diagrammed this. I had something else in mind, but that's okay. Now, chambers that sit on the bottom are the ventricles, okay? The right ventricle, here we are, right here, right ventricle, receives blood from the right atrium, bam, right? Okay, and delivers blood to the lungs. So I should do what then? Make an arrow towards the lungs, right? Is this correct? Okay. Then, now as far as my left ventricle goes, receives blood from the atrium, right? And this goes then where? Oh, that's wild. Look at that. Okay, we diagrammed this. All right. So I want you to see that when my blood comes from the heart, or goes from the heart to the lungs and back to the heart, this right here is called the pulmonary circuit. Pulmonary. What is that referring to? It's referring to the lungs, indeed. Using your knowledge as a group, trace the blood from the heart to the lungs and ultimately back to the body. So, you tell me. Let's go over this together. Trace the blood from the body. So, from the body, all right, and I got my minute mark. Does everybody, actually for homework then, as a result, I want you to literally, or to write out this. I want you to write this out and have this to turn in next time. I want you to go from the body to the lungs, back to the body, Don't forget to put the heart in there, and I want you to trace the blood cells. You tell me, and I'll get you started on here. Body, the blood will enter from the body into what chamber?
Right.
The right atrium, which flows into the right ventricle. And I want you to continue that until you get to the major vessel that comes out of the heart, the aorta. Okay? Any questions about this?
So the right and the left side never really talk to each other, they just hang out together?
Correct. This a wall here is called a septum. The only time it actually does talk to each other is in infancy. When you are in the womb, there's no reason for you to go through the pulmonary circuit because your lungs are full of amniotic fluid. So there is actually an opening in the heart that allows blood to go from one point to the other, from one chamber to the other. But when you're born, it closes up. Questions? Excellent.